For 300 years, no one went near the river after sunset. They said the water carried voices, voices of soldiers who never came home. But Kyle did not believe in old stories. That night, he walked alone through the rain. The village was silent. The river was black. Then his lantern found something buried in the mud. An old war helmet, cold, rusty, and stained with blood. Kyle reached for it, and the moment his fingers touched the metal, the rain stopped. The river went silent. Then he saw it, a fortress burning in the distance. Thousands of soldiers, flags torn by fire, a war that should have ended centuries ago. Kyle fell back in fear, but the helmet stayed in his hand, and from the fog, an army appeared. No one spoke, no one moved. Then one voice whispered, "You are late, Commander." Kyle could not move. The soldiers stood around him, silent, covered in mud, rain, and old blood. Then one of them stepped forward. He was taller than the rest. His armor was black, and his sword dragged across the ground. Kyle wanted to speak, but his voice disappeared. The soldier looked at the helmet in Kyle's hands, then bowed his head, one by one. The others followed, an entire dead army, kneeling before him. Kyle stepped back in fear. "I am not your commander," he whispered, but no one listened. The soldiers turned and began walking into the river. Kyle tried to run, but the helmet pulled him forward, as if it had a will of its own. Across the water, he saw it, the Black Valley, a place filled with ruins, burning towers, and thousands of warriors waiting in the dark. Then the army stopped. Every soldier lowered his head. Kyle looked into the helmet, and his heart froze. Inside the metal, he saw a reflection, not of a poor village boy, but of a commander, wearing armor, with the same eyes as him. And from behind him, the black soldier whispered, "The war remembers you." The moment Kyle looked into the helmet, the world around him disappeared. The rain became smoke, the river became blood, and the dead army became alive again. Kyle saw himself standing among them, but he was no longer a poor village boy. He wore black armor, a red cloak, and every soldier waited for his command. Before him stood the enemy fortress, burning under the storm. Thousands of men were ready to fight. But the commander already knew the truth. This battle could not be won. Inside the war room, he placed his hands on the map. He saw every road, every gate, every soldier who would die before sunrise. Then fear entered his heart, not fear of the enemy, but fear of dying with his men. So when the gates opened and the army charged forward, the commander turned away. He left them behind him. His soldiers screamed his name. They reached for him through fire and smoke. But he never looked back. Kyle fell to his knees. The memories surrounded him like ghosts. And then he understood. He was not watching history. He was remembering it. Kyle stood in the middle of the dead army, holding the helmet that started everything. For the first time, he did not run. The black soldier knelt before him and offered his sword. Around them, thousands of dead warriors lowered their heads. They were not asking for revenge. They were asking for an ending. Kyle looked at the burning fortress, the same fortress he had abandoned centuries ago. His hands trembled. His heart was full of fear. But this time, he stepped forward. The army followed him in silence, across the battlefield, through the rain, through the fire. Kale raised the sword, and the war began again. Inside the ruined throne hall, the black soldier waited. He was not the enemy. He was the memory of every soldier Kyle had left behind. Kyle dropped the helmet onto the stone altar. Then he whispered, "I will not leave again." The ghosts around him began to fade, one by one. The soldiers disappeared into the morning light. The rain stopped. The valley became silent and far away. Beside the river, the old helmet appeared again, waiting for the next soul who would hear the drums.